Okay, so these are my thoughts about the Buffy revival, reboot, or whatever you want to call it. As a huge fan of the show, and I'm talking OG fan, as in I used to watch Buffy in real time with commercial breaks and everything, and I had to wait a week for new episodes and sometimes more than a year for a new season. I have all of my Buffy episodes recorded on VHS tapes. So if you don't know what that means, you probably binge watch Buffy on Amazon, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, which makes you a new fan, and that's great because that means the show still holds its own after 20 something years. And I don't mean to sound patronizing. This is just to explain where I'm coming from. Because Buffy had been a huge part of my life and still is for probably a lot longer than yours. Why do I sound so mad? Anyway, Buffy revival should be a good thing for me as an all-time fan of the show. But here's why I don't think this will be a good idea. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Joss Whedon isn't going to be involved. And I know the guy's a jerk. He is not a nice human. He is canceled, blah, blah, blah. And what he did to Charisma Carpenter is really unforgivable. But all that aside, the universe of Buffy is his creation, his voice. And you can say there were other writers as well, and that this was a team effort, but he is the mastermind behind it. He would proof all the scripts, and he is behind Buffy speak, which is a term used to describe the writing on the show. And it's based on how Joss talks in real life, and it's singular to him. And any fan knows that the writing in Buffy is literally everything. Yes, making a modern version of Buffy with bigger budget and special effects might look amazing on screen, but that is not why I watched Buffy. Because A, the special effect sucked for the most part, and B, Buffy was never about that. It was about the story, the characters. That is the heart of the show. It's why I fell in love with the show. I didn't know what to expect watching each episode. I didn't know if this episode is going to make me laugh out loud or if it's going to tear my heart apart. And usually it was both. And trying to replicate that magic will be very hard with new writers. And I don't think it will feel genuine. It will be like watching a shell of a show you once loved without its essence. Now, another reason is that Buffy was the 90s. It was very much a product of that time. Setting it in modern time with smartphones and political agendas and woke writers, I mean, this is such a bad idea. It will be like trying to recreate Clueless in modern day. It's just very hard to imagine. Plus, today's seasons are very short, and if Buffy would have aired today, it probably would have been canceled by now because Buffy needed time. Having 22 episodes a season gave Buffy so much more room for creativity and also time to grow and evolve. And while you can argue that maybe you don't need episodes like Bad Eggs, but even a bad episode of Buffy was still fun. And it wouldn't be Buffy without the silly storylines and the crazy snake monsters. So it might not work in shorter form. Another reason is the chemistry. Now, we only know so far of Sarah's involvement, but if they do bring some of the old castmates, we are talking about actors who haven't worked with each other for decades now. Not to mention, it would be really hard bringing back vampire characters like Spike and Angel for obvious reasons. But the best example I can give to why this is not a good idea is the Gilmore Girl revival, which is also one of my favorite shows. And I binge watched the whole show many times. I got to watch it recently and watched the revival right after. And I could tell something was off in the very first 5 minutes. It just felt that the back and forth banter wasn't the same. It was kind of off and wooden. And don't even get me started on that Melissa McCarthy cameo. Something just didn't gel for me. Okay? So while I was excited to watch Gilmore Girls revival at first, There are so many things I didn't like about it, and I want to remember it how it originally ended and forget most of what I watched, to be honest. Which brings me to my last reason, which is probably going to make some people angry. So beware. I'm just going to start by saying that I absolutely love Sarah Michelle Gellar. I can't imagine anyone else playing Buffy, which is a testament to how amazing of an actress she is because she completely embodied that role. I watched over the years Sarah playing so many different roles. I followed her career, getting overlooked by Hollywood. I was always and still am rooting for her and want her to succeed. And I'm so glad she's getting recognition now with the Dexter prequel. So I say this with a heavy heart. I just don't trust her judgment when it comes to picking projects. Yes, on occasion she would pick a great role like Catherine in Cruel Intentions, but then she will think it's a good idea to make a Cruel Intentions revival. Spoiler alert, it was not. Like, was I excited about Scooby-Doo? No, but maybe I wasn't the target audience for that one. Did I have high hopes for her show Ringer? Yes. Did I like the show Ringer? No. Did I have high hopes for the Wolfpack or the Crazy Ones? Yes. But was I disappointed? Again, yes. Now, of course, you can't always choose winners. I get that. And this is going to be really deep cut here, but I even read the book that she once wanted to option as a movie, but it was never made. And the book was not good. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And looking at the person who is going to helm all this is a director who won an Oscar for a movie that I never watched. And honestly, no one cares about the Oscars nowadays. And all those stupid award shows never gave Buffy the acknowledgement it deserved. So to me, this is not an indication for quality whatsoever. I only know her from making probably the most boring Marvel movie ever. I just think she's like a very serious director who makes serious movies. And I think she would lack the levity and comedy to make a show like Buffy. So I don't have much hope for this. And you can say you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. But see, I kind of do. Because it will be impossible for me as a fan of the show not to watch it. And not only will I be watching, I will watch it with 4 eyes instead of 2 because I am emotionally invested in this. And I don't want it to fail as a fan, but I really don't see myself liking this revival. And I think some things are just better left untouched. And I have 144 episodes and a spin-off and comic books that I never read. But my point is, I have enough to go on with. I am happy just putting on one of my favorite episodes and watch it for the millionth time. And if you don't agree with the sentiment, that is completely fine. This is just my opinion.